Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Nvidia. It is time for another update, and today we will be checking out the critical levels that would allow still direct continuation higher, as well as some indications that we may be heading into a much larger correction. But yeah, for now I want to quickly go through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we are still tracking this series of 1-2 setups that have occurred, and then this will be the larger third wave that we have been tracking to complete possibly within this extension of this last fifth wave to the upside. Now, I want to mention that in the previous video we went through some other possibilities that we could be tracking here in this movement to the upside. There are other counts possible, of course, and even internally here within this fifth wave to the upside, but today we will only really be focusing here in these developments to the upside in this latest fifth wave. If you want a more detailed view, you can check out the previous video, but here right now we are still tracking the possibility of an impulse developing here within this fifth wave to the upside, in which case I would consider this a 1-2-1-2 setup, something like that, and then this would be an internal wave 3 that we are tracking, and then we would expect still a couple of 4-5 patterns to complete the larger wave 3, and yeah, the internal fifth wave within this larger wave 3 as well, obviously. Now, within this structure to the upside, we are focusing mostly on this fifth wave. This is the area of interest. We are within an internal structure here, and it isn't really affecting or isn't really affected by the larger structure that it is within. And for this idea, we have been tracking so far the possibility of an ending diagonal within this fifth wave to the upside, and in that case we were tracking this larger area of support, which at this point has not been reached. So clearly we are still extending within an internal wave 3. Yeah, that is highly likely that we are still within such a wave, and we can expect a larger correction afterwards in a wave 4 and a fifth wave additionally before we consider a more major top in this area. Now, with this latest extension from the support zone that I have provided you in the previous video, yeah, we broke a couple of times, we touched below it, but nothing significant. We still managed to push directly higher from this area of support, but yeah, since we managed to do such an extension, I do have to say there is a good chance we are morphing this structure into an impulse, whereas previously, as I just mentioned, we were tracking an ending diagonal within this fifth wave to the upside. So I have to consider it won't be the highest focus at this point, but I have to consider that this is possibly a series of 1-2 setups that have occurred over this area, with this being the latest 1-2, then this being the third wave up, and either we are still within this internal wave 3, or we got a correction here in a wave 4 and then an extension afterwards in a fifth wave to the upside. So an internal count that I will be considering, that I will be tracking in this area, is something like this in blue, and in this fifth wave to the upside I am expecting to form a 5-wave structure. Now, such a structure to the upside could be allowed to develop within an ending diagonal, meaning that it would still be expected to form a 5-wave structure, but each of these subwaves would be seen as an ABC structure. Now, again, another possibility is in fact what I have provided you in the previous video, where this fifth wave could be the actual count that we should consider, and that we may have formed here a more significant top within the larger wave 3. Additionally, it is possible for this to have extended here as well, this blue interpretation. But yeah, if we have formed a more significant top within this wave 3, we would be watching out for a larger retracement here in the area between the $175.5 level all the way down to the $129 level. If we push this low, yeah, it is likely we would still be tracking an ending diagonal in the end. We would still need a few more extensions here to be able to consider this third wave to the upside an impulse, and at the moment we don't have them. But yeah, unfortunately, there are many interpretations that could occur from this area, since yeah, it has been a pretty choppy mess, especially here. We have been tracking an ending diagonal, and another possibility that we could consider is that instead of having here within the orange count the fifth wave complete, which we won't leave as is, because that is the case where the third wave has already topped here and we would be heading for the larger support zone in the wave 4, very likely. But another possibility is that this fourth wave has never actually started, neither has the fifth wave, of course, but this third wave is actually still within an extension, in which case we would need to develop also a 5-wave structure, similarly within as we were tracking within this blue interpretation in the fifth wave, because then instead of completing the third wave top here, it would really be an A wave top. This would have been a B wave correction, and then we would be looking here at a C wave to the upside, which must be a 5-wave structure. Now, if we fail to develop a 5-wave structure, there are unfortunately once again a couple of options. Now, I won't clutter your mind with that because yeah, there are too many possible scenarios at this point in this time frame, and they are all extremely fragile. So what I want to be focusing on is what type of structure this is really developing within to the upside, because so far I don't have 5 waves. I do have a possible count in an ABC pattern, yeah, that is pretty nicely available. And then I do have still, at this point, I do still have the possibility to track this as an impulse to the upside, but I have to say it is hanging by a thread, because I need to consider this something like a 1, 2, probably another 1, 2 here, then possibly 1, 2, 3, and then I would need here to hold support in a correction in a wave 4. Could be multiple 1, 2s in this area as well, doesn't really matter at this point, but the main concern is that we must hold here. We must hold this area of support between the $207 level all the way down to the $202 level, which so far we did fine. We did touch a couple of times below the 50% retracement, but nothing too significant, not a sustained break, so we could still allow for further extension directly higher. But yeah, if we fall once again, we wouldn't be able to really consider even a triangle developing in this area, because yeah, we would form an additional low, where if we were forming a triangle, I would expect this to be the lowest point and then possibly complete an A, B, C, D, E, something like that, before we continue higher within the fifth wave to the upside. And then this would be, yeah, this is the idea for direct continuation within the impulse to the upside within, yeah, this entire push here. And if we fall below the 50% retracement, I would probably need to consider a diagonal structure if we are to still look for higher prices. Otherwise, I would have to probably consider a more significant top here within this area and look out for, yeah, a much larger correction in the end. But if we don't consider the impulse, we do have the possibility to consider something, whoops, like a 1, 2, 3, 4th, and then a 5th. I suppose we could allow even other ideas, but yeah, nothing too significant. Maybe a 1, 2, 3, yeah, that could also work. And in that case, I would be able to provide you a backup area of support that would still allow us to push directly higher in this area from the $205 level all the way down to the $194.5 level. But I have to say, if we break below the 61.8% retracement here, there is a very, very good chance that we are heading either into this larger wave 4 in green, or that this third wave in blue has extended all the way up here. And yeah, then we would need still a much larger correction, not as deep. I could provide you an additional level to consider for this scenario as well, but yeah, it is unfortunate that these overlap so heavily. It is unfortunate, but nothing we can really do when the scenario, not even the scenario, the structures are so choppy in, yeah, basically ending diagonals, and they are such a mess. But then if we fall below the 61.8% retracement in yellow, which is already a less likely scenario, yeah, I believe if we fail to hold here the white scenario, there is a very, very good chance that we are heading either into the larger blue scenario or the larger green scenario. And yeah, firstly, from the blue scenario perspective, it would start to really have support from the $190 level, and it extends all the way down to the $168 level. And if we fall below the $168 level at the 50% retracement, I would have to pretty much invalidate the idea of a possible impulse forming in this larger fifth wave to the upside. And yeah, unfortunate, there are many interpretations, many possible scenarios, and I apologize for it being, so choppy, so difficult to really track. But yeah, this is the situation at the moment, and for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.